Hi, this is April Rose Gabrielli, and you're listening to the FSF PopCast.
The show where nerds like us that get the camaraderie, the support that we missed during middle school.
Our show is brought to you by our charity sponsor, the Red Shirt Widows and Orphans Fund, which supports the Wish Upon a Teen Foundation that helps out sick kids when they need it most. And just imagine the comfort you'll give Red Shirt crewman number 124. She'll know that when she puts on the red shirt and joins in on a music tour, that she didn't leave her family destitute and without hope, because the Red Shirt Widows and Orphans Fund has her back, and what's left of her keyboard.
All right, so our guest today is someone that Kathleen and I have had the privilege of speaking to before on our former show, Pop Culture Addicts, still available on YouTube if you're wondering. And we have aired that episode on here at FSF as well. But now Nick gets the chance to experience her awesomeness in person as well. She's an amazingly talented musician with a wonderful voice who has some new music out. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what's gone on in life since we got to talk to her last. And we are so proud and so excited to technically welcome back, but to welcome April Rose Gabrielli to the FSF PopCast. Welcome to the show, April.
Thank you so much for having me again. It's been a while since I've seen you guys, and I'm ready to chat with my new friend here.
All right, so April, you have been an extremely busy person since the last time we got to chat. There's been an EP, there's been a full-length album, you've been out touring, making music videos and writing songs, not only for yourself, but I know that you've been writing with Kulik as well, and all these different things. So talk to us about the last 12 months for you as a musician, about your new music. How you doing there, kiddo?
I am great. I mean, first and foremost, my health is, I'm going to say, is in a much better place probably since we last talked, which is great because for people who don't know my story, I was diagnosed with epilepsy in November of 2020. I had to write my whole record basically in the year and a half, 2 years that I was trying to find a way to control them. So I was in and out of the hospital, all that. And it's been a year now since they've been under control, which is the longest that it's been since I've diagnosed. So I'm very grateful for that. So that's first and foremost. No matter what was going on with music, I feel good about being healthy. I'm very grateful for that. So that's been fantastic. And it's been much easier to do things not being so sick. So that's cool. And then I had a couple singles come out. I had Bad Habit come out. Which was the single in February of 2022 with a music video where I turned into a demigorgon. That was really fun to make with a couple of my friends. Then I had a single called Need a Break come out in around April. Then the EP came out with 6 songs, including the first 3 singles. And then, and then the album came out in August, only like last month and a half now. And it's a 17-song record. It's 12 songs, but the rest are interlude tracks. I think it's like 5 interludes on there. And it's all out. It's my first record. It's all my first songs. And now I'm kind of just hungover from that whole experience and trying to figure out, what worked, what didn't work. And me and Kulik just launched our very own production company. So we've been producing out of this room for a long time. And artists were coming to us being like, who did your songs? And we were like, we did them. So it kind of fell into our lap and we've just sort of been producing, mixing, mastering, writing with a ton of other artists. So we just officially, we did a soft launch on it like earlier this month. It's called The Pair. I don't know, the sign's not on. I should probably turn it on, but yeah. So The Pair, as in the fruit.
That's awesome.
I was looking over. I'm like, I should have grabbed the CD. I have your CD.
Oh, you do?
My husband bought it. He just got his autographed copy in the mail last week.
Who is your husband?
John Loss.
Oh my God. I was like wondering who this is. Oh my God.
That'd be mine.
Yeah, good. I was like, who is this guy? That's great. I was like,
yeah, okay, cool. I was just looking for it. I'm like, where did it go?
I would have put your name on it too. Yeah, because he was so he joined my Patreon, which is like super cool. I started a Patreon this year too, because I'm mostly doing all my own like funding and and just to build a community that's not like on TikTok would make it makes me feel better because I'm just trying to create longevity in what I do, and it's been really hard to do that in this era of media, which I'm sure you
Right.
guys totally feel the heat from too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, all my Patreons get little perks like that. I'll sign the CDs and send them for free and things like that. So
It was so funny as I went out and got the mail, and I'm like, what is this from Pennsylvania? And he's like, it's a CD. I'm like, well, I can tell that it's a CD from the way that it feels in the package.
where
I'm like, but whose? And like, he
yeah.
got home and he opened it. I'm like, oh, that's so
Yeah,
cute.
no, that's awesome. That makes me feel. I mean, it was cool either way if he's a stranger or not. But it's like I always just like to know, like I'm just trying to like, how did this person find me? Like, who is this? Blah blah. But
So
yeah,
I want
very
to
cool.
I want to share a note with you real quick. This is from John, and John also does all the editing and producing here on our shows. And between him and Nick, they're our editors. But John said, talking about your album and about the interview tonight, he said it's a very solid album. All the instruments are clear and balanced. The writing is excellent. Easily one of my favorite releases so far this year.
Wow, thanks, John.
So, and I would tend to agree with him. It's an amazing album, and
It
So there's a
Thank you
couple
so
tracks that I really appreciate and enjoy myself. They happen to be releases so far, but I love the song "Bad Habit." That's the song I'll like if I'm working around the house, I'll put that on loop and just let it play, because I don't know, I like the rise and fall in a lot of the spots of the song, and I like the
Mm-hmm.
wordplay that you do in the song, and and for me that's always very cool. I love wordplay, and so when
Me too.
when somebody can work wordplay into a song, and I think we talked about this with your "Do You" song on Pop Culture Addicts about I loved the wordplay in that song as well, and I think that's one of the coolest bits about your writing is that you work in wordplay in very very smart places, and I just think it's very well done. So
Thank you.
So, being a public figure and being in the limelight, everything that you do falls under scrutiny at some point. And it sometimes causes people to judge your character, like when you admit to buying jeggings.
I was like, this sounds familiar.
I saw your TikTok and I was laughing so hard because, as a fellow fan of the stretchy pants, do you wish that you had bought them sooner?
Yes, and you know what? I really, I am totally like 100% contrarian, like counterculture. Like if everybody's doing it and everybody loves it, which there's a reason for always, I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I don't care. I don't want to know. I don't want to hear about it. So it's like it took me 10 years to watch The Office. Is The Office one of my favorite shows in the whole world? Absolutely. But it took me 10 years to watch it. Breaking Bad, didn't watch that until fairly recently. Really great, really interesting. All the things that everybody else has watched. I watched Polar Express. It came out in like 2004. I watched it last year. Like, and all these things are great. But yeah, then the other day I'm like, okay, like I work from home. I work at a desk all day here. There's no reason for me to be wearing a lot of tight pants. And I'm like, oh, I mean, maybe I'm like, I wish I could just look really great, but not feel like how I look, if that makes sense. Like,
Mhm.
like not being all tightened up. So I was like, and then I'm like, oh my God, jeggings. Do I do it? Like no one's doing it now. Or like if they are, it's secret.
Mhm.
So it was safe enough for me to do it. And once again, I just should have done it when everyone else was doing it, but I will never learn. So yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yep. I got jeggings. And I knew that my true groupies know that I have completely verbally abused the wearers of jeggings. I've been like, what are you doing? Wear jeans, wear leggings, don't do both. I'm joking, but it's like, you know what I mean?
so
I just always,
comfortable.
I'll always find a way to like be counterculture for some reason. I like really need to fix that because if I have kids that are doing that, I'm gonna be like, can you just relax?
Right,
Like just
yeah.
enjoy life, wear the jeggings,
Mhm. See, and it's funny is I am not only am I a fan of just comfortable pants in general, I actually have multiple pairs of name brand pajama jeans. Of all
Pajama
things,
jeans?
pajama jeans.
So that's
That's-
not jeggings.
They are not. They look like jeans, but they're almost flannelly on the inside, but they have a drawstring waistband. And they
Okay.
are the most comfortable
Do they
pants
look like
I
skinny
have
pants or
ever
they look
owned.
like pajama pants?
Nope,
You wearing them?
they're like standard traditional jeans. Like,
I've seen those before. That's cool.
they are so comfortable. And it was so funny as it was not long after my daughter was born that I actually looked at my mom and I'm like, I need to give you a formal apology. And she's like, For what? I'm like, I gave you so much crap about stretchy pants. Stretchy pants are the way to go.
Yeah.
Wearing real pants is stupid.
Yeah, real pants are really like, I mean, it's rough. It's not my favorite thing to be doing. Also, too, like I'm not against it. Like I'm always down for like you wear whatever you want, make yourself comfortable. Like I'll never judge. It's just like, half of it's mostly for humor for me, or like, I don't know, it's just something's wrong. There's a screw loose or something. But I also went to private school, so I was wearing a uniform for close to 9 years. So I think it's a little uptight in terms of like, feeling like it's okay to dress down, or like, because for a long time I'm in like, I couldn't even get I was allowed to get one ear pierced, like one hole, but you're not allowed to have more than one. I couldn't wear makeup all the way up until like 8th grade. I was like not allowed to wear makeup. Wow. Yeah, like my private school is pretty, I guess, strict in that regard. I mean, like, it's not like I felt like it was strict. I actually wasn't like, oh, I really want to wear makeup, or, I really want to do this. Like, I didn't really feel the strictness there. But yeah, I think that's another reason I feel a little like uncomfortable sometimes with being like really comfortable, because I like just, when you're out and you're in front of people in a formal setting, you're supposed to like look a certain way, that's kind of like in my head. But yeah, go jeggings is the moral of the story.
For sure.
And I'm over here just like, it's track pants season, so have at it. So,
right.
Yeah.
And it's funny, it's like initially with the pajama jeans and the jeggings, I'm like, no way. And I don't think I'm ever going to buy real jeans again. Like, they look like jeans. They have functional pockets like jeans, but I don't have a stupid waistband digging into my gut when I sit down. Like,
yeah. All these, I don't know if it's just because I'm getting a little older the last couple of years, but like different parts are doing different things. And I need to address that within my wardrobe. So I'm doing that. There's
that shift that happens where you're like, no, we're gonna go more comfortable now.
Yeah.
Pants. We're still wearing pants.
Only when we have to.
Yeah, I'm pretty much like, yeah. There's only a certain amount of hours that I can actually wear real pants before I like start to get irritated. But poor us, right?
Before the existence of pants is just too much.
I know.
I was talking with my wife the other day, because my wife goes and works. She has a real job outside of the house. I have my job inside of the house, and I'm a stay-at-home dad as well, and all this stuff. So we're talking. She'll send me a message. Hey, how's your days going? I'm like, I actually got dressed. She goes, what does that mean? I'm like, I put on track pants. So she says, you traded one pair of pajamas for another one. I'm like, but yes, one of them says Nike on the side and socially acceptable. So yes. Right. If I need to go to the store, they're not just red and black, checkered, house pants like the ones I'm currently wearing. But that's a whole nother topic.
See, that's like when I worked in the nursing home and I'd come home from work and I would put on my pajamas, and my pajamas were less comfortable than my scrubs. I'm like, there's something wrong here.
Right. Scrubs are super comfy from what I've heard.
Scrubs are super comfortable.
Yeah, I've had family members work in vets that would wear them, and then, friends of mine who are nurses that just like love their scrubs.
Oh yeah.
They're not warm, but they're comfortable.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So April, being a musician isn't enough anymore. Artists are usually expected to also have like a social media presence on multiple platforms. So which can be somewhat exhausting. So what do you do to help maintain that necessary presence, but without it letting it overwhelm you?
Great question. I'm still working on letting it not bother me. But because like I said, I'm always like kind of a little counterculture. Even like growing up sort of in the YouTube era, I was always like too shy, or I don't know, too proud, whatever it is. I never really put up videos of myself. Like I never really, some people just latched onto social media right away because they loved it, but I'm like a pen and paper outside, no phone kind of person. Like I got my first smartphone my last year of college, which was like 10 years ago. So all my friends had iPhones and stuff in high school, whatever. I had an LG Octane till I was like 21. So I'm like, actually feel like a laggard in that regard. But what I've if someone's listening that needs this advice, or if even you guys deal with this, like what's worked best for me is just understanding, what I have to do. You need to accept the reality of the situation essentially, and you need to agree with it wholeheartedly and be like, okay, I'm going to do with this what I will and can. And then find within that acceptance, find what it is that you can just do naturally that works. Because a lot of people are like, oh, just be authentic. But these are, also the same people that have millions of followers and like higher production value on their videos than some TV shows. Like, so it's like, there's definitely a lot of smoke and mirrors in terms of like what people are telling you and what they're actually doing. So you need to kind of figure out what's most comfortable for you, or that's what I've been doing, because I've tried a lot of different things. And the more I can kind of duplicate or replicate my real life onto my social media, I don't feel as weird, because there was a long time that during my record release and things like that, I was watching my social media and being like, I hate this person. Like, I love me in real life. This is like the opposite thing everybody thinks, but like, I think I'm really cool in real life. I'm just going to put it out there. I enjoy myself in real life. Socially, it works. Whatever. I know how to handle myself. Online, I'm just looking at myself. I'm like, this girl is so uncomfortable. This is so weird. Because not naturally, I wouldn't do it. And I'm watching people trying to duplicate what they're doing, replicate what they're doing. So I'm thrilled that you brought up the jeggings video, because I had that actual moment in my mind. I'm like, should I tell anybody that I bought jeggings? Do I? Whatever. And I thought, you know what? If I had a friend in the room right now, like, this is what I would do to them. So like, I think this would be a funny TikTok moment. Whereas like, and it worked. People thought it was funny, and it's not my music, but I interchange like silly little funny, sarcastic things with actual videos of me singing rather than me in my bedroom. Like, I just like prefer the organic stuff, but yeah, I'm still working it out, to answer your question. And it is overwhelming, but you kind of just have to like realize that you don't like work in the emergency room. Like, there are no lives at stake. You just, at the end of the day, even if you're one of the most popular artists in the world, you're always going to be wanting to do more and be more. So it's like, you just have to get used to the fact that there's sort of, you're chasing something that might not ever, get where you want it to be. So you just have to kind of enjoy what you're doing in the moment and let go. Just let go. It's okay, let go. But I'm also actively working on not ever being on social media. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. I don't really know what I'm gonna do. But yeah, we'll see. It's tough. It's tough for me. Some people really like it. I'm kind of like, don't know what to do with my face and stuff.
Well, yeah, I get that. And so for me, I started doing a TikTok account, and I was starting making TikToks and all these different things. And I got to the point where I don't like it. I don't like making TikToks. And so I've stopped pretty much.
Yeah, good for you.
It's just, I'm uncomfortable with it. It's because the person that I'm portraying, I think is the same thing that you were feeling perhaps, is that it wasn't me. That wasn't my personality that was coming through. I was trying to be something, do something, where it's not like where I'm talking to somebody on an interview. I get to be myself in this when I'm talking to you and sitting down, and because it's an interaction, it's a social interaction. And I feel like it's something completely different. Now, however, I do very much enjoy Twitter.
Right.
I like Twitter because, again, it's the interactions and things like that. I hate Facebook. I hate Instagram.
Yeah.
Facebook and Instagram they're just horrible to deal with.
Facebook is terrible. Instagram, I'm most used to. Like, that was the first social media platform I was like really into. So I think I'm just like used to it. But yeah, like, I don't know. Yeah. TikTok, like what you were saying about the social element, it's like, I need people to bounce off of. If I'm in a room alone, it's like, I'm just going to like, I don't know. I'm in personal, like I'm in deep thought or just thinking, so, and
you
it's not usually
overanalyze.
funny. Yeah, right. And so it's just like, I don't know. I need, you're like, oh, well, you're so funny. Do something funny. I'm like, I'm only funny like when people give me like, when there's an opportunity to be funny, like in real life. Like, why am I going to create a circumstance it's going to show? But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
two things. Good. I think your advice was really good, very solid. And number two, I had to look. This is the second thing I've had to Google tonight. I didn't know what an LG Octane was, but you can still get one on eBay for $12.99, just in case you're wondering.
Oh, lovely. So, okay. Well,
yeah. With a 4.5 star rating, just saying. So
the phone was fantastic, but I had after I went to business school, in college, and like one of my first internships was like, oh, well, do you have email on your phone? I'm like, no, I have this. And they're like, you, if
Oh,
you
that's
want to work in
adorable.
music and media, like you probably are going to be expected to like answer an email, like when you're not here, like, have access to that. And I'm like, oh man, I'm like, really? So my mom and I like scrounged up, like, I don't know how much money, like a little bit to get a used Android. I still got made fun of because it was like the worst of the worst
Sure.
Androids, and it was like 15 years old or something. And then I finally got an iPhone. I don't actually remember when. It was like not monumental because I was just felt like I sold out.
Fair enough.
No, I love iPhones though, personally now.
So you had the LG Octane. I had the LG Cosmos. So the other slide keyboard one. Like I had to look up which one it was.
LG Cosmos. I also had, what is that? That one that closed and then flipped as well. I think it was
Oh yeah.
that
I
I was
remember
like
which one that was.
I became a crazy texter on that phone. Yeah, the Cosmos. Yep. I may have also had this phone, to be completely honest. I don't know wait, so what does the Octane look like? Octane opens, right?
I think so.
I had it in like metallic chocolate or something like that. It was like the worst color too. It was like brown. It was like really
See,
weird.
but I had the slide out QWERTY keyboard. I got it my senior year of high school, so I got it in 2010. It was not a new model in 2010, and I did not replace it until after my husband and I got married in 2014. I did not have a smartphone until after my husband and I got married.
You guys don't understand. Like if I was not an entertainer, I would have a landline and no social media. Like truly Uli. Like
I get
all
it.
these I really like, and it's not because I hate everybody in the world. It's literally because it just doesn't replace, especially being a live performer, it does not replace the feeling of being in person. So I don't understand why it's becoming okay. I think it's cool that it can connect you to more people at once from different places, but
it
it
doesn't
actually,
doesn't replace human interaction.
No.
Right. And I think like I'm an empath, and I'm also kind of like I don't know, extroverted kind of introvert. And I like have to, I need time to refuel. And sometimes social interaction actually does fuel me. Sometimes it burns me out, but
depends on who you're with.
Yeah. And like, if I am burnt out, a lot of times I will go on my phone and then it just overwhelms me more. Like there's a weird thing to it, but yeah, I think people are noodling it out, and hopefully it doesn't end the whole world. Yeah. Good question.
And now, a word from our show sponsor, Level Up Sabers. Their link can be found in the show notes.
All right, so we talked about some of your music to get started here, and we talked about Do You and Bad Habit, but the newest single, I Woke Up Alive. Now it's a very powerful tale about your health struggles, and you mentioned some of that in the beginning. Now I have to be honest with you, I don't think I've made it through the entirety of the video. It's a very hard video for me to watch because it was a little too close to home in regards to my own daughter's health struggles, and so I love the fact that you did put a trigger warning on the beginning of it for people and what they were going to be seeing and all those things, because it is a very hard hitting song. And the video, I tried to make through it today and I didn't. That video brings me to tears. It's okay. It brings me to tears every single time I watch it.
Made me cry.
Yeah, it's very intense.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you're feeling better and that you're doing better and everything, but take us through the process of actually putting that video together, and how, was that difficult for you to do because of having to look back on that period of your life?
Yeah, I mean, well, I edited the whole thing. My partner took, 99% of the footage. The live footage was done by a couple friends. But I cried a lot editing it. and I edited it for days, and I was sending different cuts back and forth to one of my team members, and yeah, it actually helped me process it, because by the end of the video, like any creative thing that you work on, you start to just live with it, and it's like not as shocking. So when
Sure.
I was finally sending it to people after kind of being a little muted from it, I was like, just even hearing the way you guys react to it is like, oh shit, that is like out in the world
Mm-hmm.
for people to see now. And it was twofold. It was really, I didn't really want to be that vulnerable and show people all of that, because I mean, it's definitely not sexy footage. It's like I'm looking at my worst, there's hospital stuff, it's
Sure.
not cool, it's COVID. But I did find in sharing like that I had epilepsy, people just did not even and I definitely did not understand before I acquired epilepsy. I did not understand the intensity of epilepsy, of the disability. So I thought that it would be important to at least be like, yeah, I'm fine some days, but this is when it looks like when it's not fine. And a lot of people have epilepsy and are not fine. Like I think I put it in the video, but there's over 1 million cases of uncontrolled epilepsy in the United States alone. And
Right.
I'm sure there are very similar statistics with other illnesses and disabilities. And I just don't think there's enough visual components, especially in such a visual time, to really understand, like our understanding of what disabled or chronically ill is very, I think, narrow sighted. Like it's very narrow. And I know mine
Agreed.
definitely was.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, and I know you definitely must understand that a whole bunch. So I just wanted to like, I mean, I didn't know what else to, make the song to. I didn't have a budget for a music video. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna tell the story as is. And quite frankly, I don't know if I would have understood what happened to me if I didn't have the video footage, because of all the blackouts and disorientations and the relearning and all this stuff. Like, I don't really know what I remember and what I saw in video now. It's kind of like childhood memories where you don't like,
Mm-hmm.
is it because I saw me at that Christmas, or do I really remember that Christmas video,
Right. Right.
So, a lot of it, I processed it and kind of relived it a bit, but there was, I mean, a lot of gratitude having been able to edit the video, 7 or 8 months after the last hospital visit, so yeah, really interesting experience.
I'm sure.
Really, all of it.
Really,
Yeah.
it's a really powerful video, though. It's a really
Extremely.
cool video. And I will admit that I didn't get as teary-eyed like I usually would, and I don't know why. It didn't hit me today. I'm sure the next time I watch it probably will.
Doesn't have to. Sometimes I get numb with that stuff where I'm just like frozen,
Yeah, and I think like I was looking at it with I talked to her after this. I talked to her after she did all of this. I know that she's okay.
Right.
I have that confirmation that she made it through this, that she came out stronger. And I actually watched it with being very, very proud of you.
Right.
Like, it was look at the cool, like, look how cool she is. Look at all the things she went through and look what she's accomplished. Like,
Right.
that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's also a part of it, because I mean, people, I'd be like, I was in one of the first clips in that video, was like my first show as a solo act, and 4 days before that I was in the hospital. I didn't tell anybody,
Right.
so it's like I'm part of that. Like, I think that was ballsy, that I did that. Like, I was like, but I have to do it, so it's like there's that takeaway too, where it's like, I think it's important to do things that might make you uncomfortable, obviously without endangering you. But, my family was there, my partner was there. I wasn't that far off the ground, and, I usually get warning signs anyway, so I know how to handle things if, it were to go down, so to speak. But yeah.
Yeah. And
also,
I
sorry.
no, you're fine. Go ahead.
Signing your contract in the hospital. Like, that's just so BA. Like, that is so cool. With the
Yeah.
you are so determined, you're going to do this.
Are you kidding? Yeah, like I'm lucky my partner actually like also had previously gotten a publishing deal, because I was totally not well enough to like be knowing really what the hell was going on, but I already had agreed to sign it the day before. Like, the whole plan was to sign it the next day, with everybody. So it was already kind of halfway done, but yeah, I mean, you wait lifetimes to get acknowledged like that. Like it would have taken everything for me not to sign that, you know?
And I think one of the nice things of what you just said is that, talking about your experience is that I think that the population at large does have a very narrow view of what chronic illness looks like.
Mhm.
Because, even with my daughter who battles Guillain-Barré syndrome and fibromyalgia,
Mm-hmm.
the people don't understand that one day she's going to look like a perfectly normal 15-year-old girl out doing her things, living her life, and the next day she's going to be down for the count.
Mm-hmm.
Like this past weekend, we were at a small Comic-Con here in Michigan, and on Saturday she was running around having fun, looking like your normal average teenage girl. Sunday and Monday, she never made it out of bed. Just she was done, she was spent, and you know, so I think that the understanding and putting it into focus in the way that you did, extremely brave to do that, to share a bit of you and a bit of you and a piece of you. I can combine bit and piece into pit. So there's that.
Kind of like that. I was like, yeah, it is a pit.
That just happened. Yes. So anyway, that'll be on a blooper reel somewhere. Anyway, but to share that bit of you that's so, and up until working on it may have been a raw nerve, and I just think that's such a very cool thing to do, and I applaud you so greatly because I think that that's something that needs to be a more openly discussed item,
Yeah.
and the acceptance of people's conditions and what they're dealing with, and
Yeah. A lot of people don't have the ability to speak on behalf of what they're feeling too.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of people don't like legitimately possess the ability to do so. And I know if I'd stayed over medicated in the state that I was this first 6 months, or like I had no idea what was going on with me. Like my partner was, totally my aide, my caretaker, so I feel so terrible for people who are unable to advocate for themselves for whatever reasons. And I just feel like if I have the ability as someone who's, acquired a disability to express that or try to speak on behalf of other people that can't speak for themselves, it's like, you can't not do that. You have to do that. You have to be like, wake up, like, look what's going on.
Yeah.
Be more aware of what's going on around you, even if you can't fully see it. But yeah, thanks. Yeah, it was weird to do.
I'm sure it'll pay off, though. I'm sure it's already paying off.
The end result is beautiful.
I connected with a lot of women that had epilepsy, which was really cool, or musicians that have experienced it. Like I didn't really know many people with epilepsy before I started putting the music out and talking about it. So that in itself has created its own little community for me, which has been like therapeutic in a sense. We're all trying to cheer each other on if someone has a rough day health wise, checking in and all that. So it helps that too.
Very cool.
So I will say that just I think it's, I don't want to say funny because funny is not the right word, but I can't come up with the right word, that finding more people who have the similar issue as you. So you sent the CD to my husband.
Mm-hmm.
He had epilepsy as a child. He outgrew it, but he was epileptic as a child. So was my older brother. Like it's nuts. It happens. It's insane.
Well, it's 1 in 26 people. Oh my God.
Like my husband, when he was epileptic, when he was a kid, the treatment was phenobarbital. Like,
yep.
And he was on such a high dose of phenobarbital to get his seizures to stop that he barely got to be a kid. Like,
yeah, most like I have a friend that I roomed with for a while who had childhood epilepsy. She's like, it's all a blur. Just like her whole childhood's just a blur. She remembers the hospital, but that's how I felt. Like, I don't know, like if people weren't like my partner wasn't actively like videotaping everything. Like, I don't know. And that was literally just because that's how our relationship was. We videotaped everything. We take pictures of everything. We're always traveling, and my family's not in PA. Like I'm the only part of my family who's here. So, it was also a way of like during COVID and during all these other things to like, share with my family what was going on or, see if there was any patterns in what we were finding, so it's really strange the way it all came together, but that's crazy. That's crazy.
It's way more common than you'd think.
Yeah, because it's one of those like invisible illnesses,
Right.
but also not. It's really interesting. Yeah. So I tried
When
to
it
talk.
makes itself visible, it's very, very visible.
Oh, you betcha.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's the worst part about it.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
April,
it's okay.
you
Okay.
mentioned at the beginning of the interview a little bit about your new endeavor, The Pair, which
Yes.
is fantastic. Congratulations. That's super
Thank
exciting.
thank you.
So, you are now offering a variety of music production, songwriting, mixing, mastering, and label services to other musicians.
Hmm.
So, what inspired the creation of this new enterprise, and what sets The Pair apart from other similar services?
I have been an indie artist and building my own career up from, not literally knowing anything since I was about 18. And prior to that, I had written and produced a full musical by the time I was 16 or 17. I think it was out by I was 17. So I already understood, the music business or the entertainment business from a kind of a young age. And then I just started applying that to music. And only until recently when I actually signed with a label and signed with a publisher and got to see like what being an artist was in this sphere really was. I was like, oh, I do these things for myself already. Like I know, other than, funding is cool, but other than that, I'm able to execute most things that artists need to grow and evolve and develop. My partner's in a similar situation where, you know, he's also been, pretty self-sufficient his whole life, making art, mixing, producing, playing every instrument, his whole existence too.
Mhm.
So, and we found ourselves collaborating on everything. He'd, be mixing a song on my wall, making his artwork. We do all of the photo shoots in house, like of each other, and I do the photoshopping, whatever. So the list goes on. So we realized between the two of us, we can, really support people who want to do unique things, especially when they're first starting out, because we feel like we can help people skip steps that we wish that we would have in the beginning. And the idea with The Pair that I feel like sets us apart from other people is we know what it's like to be an artist. We've both been in situations of feeling overpowered by producers or labels or not being heard as an artist, because there are other parts of being an entertainer, being an artist. It is a huge business. So business is not to be disregarded in that way, but to really feel like your vision is being tapped into as an artist, I think makes the business side of things much smoother. And we just kind of want to support artists who are sort of already, focused on creating a vision and really bring that vision to life versus the vision of maybe, someone else. Because especially now, the way things are, you need to have a very strong vision for someone to want to invest in you, whether it be monetarily or just as a fan. And again, I feel like me and Jake learned all this stuff sort of on our own and just want to share it with people because there's tons of gatekeeping in the music community and a lot of communities, especially when it's really competitive. So, yeah, and we're just all homegrown. That's the way it is. And we want to support as many people as we can in, creating cool stuff from nothing.
Awesome.
So where did the name The Pair come from?
So the studio originally started on Pear Street.
There you
and
go.
we're a pair, so it's fruit, so it's PEAR. And then we are a pair, two people of producers. So we thought The Pair. And it's just like a lot of studios and a lot of like music industry type products are very like everything. Well, actually he built his desk, so it's like different over there, but a lot of gear, there's like not many color choices, it's very dark, it's very sleek, very intimidating, a lot of ego. So we wanted to choose a color scheme too that was like not typical of a music business. So we thought like something that looked more almost like homey and warm and like fresh, like a pear, like a farm, because the hope is at some point we will grow the studio and put it separate location on a farm. So it's basically like a getaway for artists and they can stay there and it'd be
cool.
just like a full on just getaway experience that they don't have, they don't, because we like are aware that we're not in New York, we're not in Nashville, we're not in LA. So, to come out here from those places, if you're really pursuing your art, it's going to be an expense. It's going to be a big, sacrifice, but the sacrifice pays off when you get to be in the middle of a beautiful place making good art, and you can sleep
That's
there
cool.
too. So
Yeah,
we're trying to
make it a
like
draw.
like trying to make an all inclusive, like emotionally, spiritually, and artistically supportive experience.
That's so cool. I love that
Very
idea.
cool. Yeah,
Thanks.
very cool.
Tell your friends. Yeah.
Any of them that listen to the podcast will know if I have
like
any.
we make music. We can pretty much do anything. I'll bring it on.
That is super
Awesome.
cool.
I was thinking you guys would grow a pear tree and then build like the thing up in the tree, so you have like a clubhouse and a pear tree.
Also not out of the question. We definitely want to grow a couple of pear trees on the property. It's like literally a conversation. Like, it's not even a joke what you're saying.
Oh, that's cool. That's
but
cool.
doing a house in it is a cool idea. That's a cool idea. Or some sort of,
Like the studio is up in the pear tree. Have fun getting your drums up there, but
As long as there's a random partridge in there as well.
Right, of course.
Oh boy.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, that's the pear. We're super excited about it.
Cool.
It feels a lot less personal than like a artist project where you have to be like, yeah, I'm really cool, blah blah. Like, it's kind of cool to be like, we're cool and our artists are cool. It feels a little bit more community driven, which is nice.
Mhm. The notes on the back of I Woke Up Alive say the album was performed by you. We know that you sing and play the piano. Did you play any other instruments on the album, or were those handled by Kulik and Kevin? Or other producers?
Yeah. So it's just me, Kulik, and Kevin on the record in terms of instrumentalists. But yeah, I sang everything. I played all the piano. I do a lot of like the string parts, all the vocal arrangements. I do some of the drum patterns too. The guys mostly play guitar, and bass. I like, a lot of the times what will happen is, because those two, like guitar and bass, are not like my specialties in terms of just recording them, I'll play parts or kind of emulate what I want, and then they'll do it like for real. But I also love to do a lot of the synth programming and stuff like that. Like, that's really fun for me. But yeah, it's mostly from my brain, and then those guys just totally like blew it up for me. Like, they did so many cool things on there. But yeah, it's just us three.
Very
Let's
cool.
make it happen. Yeah.
And now a word from our sponsor. Since 1982, Vital Signs and Graphics has been helping professionals with all their image, logo, and design needs. Perhaps you're looking for signs and banners, truck and trailer lettering, business cards, brochures, or other image and marketing aids. Vital Signs and Graphics in-house design studio has you covered. From logos to apparel, start to finish, Vital Signs and Graphics has everything you need to look and feel professional. Call Rick at 231-652-3300. He'll get you noticed. Welcome back to the FSF PopCast. So, the FSF PopCast spawned from our Facebook group, which was called the Funny Science Fiction Group. Now, in that group, we have about 206,000 members right now, and it's a group full of just sci-fi lovers, and there's memes upon memes, and I'm stealing one of Nick's lines, and he's very uncomfortable with me saying this, but I'm doing it anyway. But so we usually ask the people to make a meme mashup in their head and tell us, would they meet as allies or enemies or something like that, but that doesn't usually fit for a musician. So here's the musician version of this.
Okay.
If you could put together a tour, you being the headliner, of course, but with two other bands or solo artists, just putting this out in the universe, see if it ever could happen. The universe will do what it wants with the information. Who would you pick and why?
So 2 other artists?
Yeah, 2 other artists or two other bands to come on the road with you. It could be anybody from any time, any genre.
Well, Queen, obviously. If any time, any genre. I think Queen, because they would just be so cool. Freddie Mercury specifically, obviously. But
Oh yeah.
him. And I think I'm just gonna say Florence and the Machine, because she's been playing some pretty sweet shows lately.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see
That's
myself going in like kind of a folk pop direction. Like, I Woke Up Alive was the last song I wrote on the record, so it's more similar to what's kind of coming next. if that makes
Okay.
sense. A lot of the
Yeah, it
other
does.
stuff's older. Yeah, so her. Yeah.
That would be awesome.
That would be a
Yeah.
really cool concert.
Even
That-
if you
Let
even
me
if
know.
we
I'll
couldn't
buy
make the
tickets.
exactly, I was gonna say, even if you can't make the Queen thing happen, I would totally be down to see you with Florence and the Machine.
Yeah, let's make that happen. I would love to open for Pink too or something.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
She'd be a cool, I mean, she just seems like the coolest girl in the world. But
She really does. She would be
Seems
fun.
very down to earth.
yeah, it's like so cool.
So, April, it is no secret to anybody who's listened to our show before that our ensemble here is somewhat divided when it comes to musicals. I absolutely love them.
Yeah.
Nick has a general understanding and appreciation for them, while Tim hates them,
Okay.
which is sad. He's living in
Yes.
his little sad bubble without musicals for whatever sad, cranky old man reason he has right now.
But I have Star Wars, so I'm okay.
But, April, you played Maureen in your high school production of Rent.
I like how the hair immediately covers the face. You're like, no, you know
Yeah,
about this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, which knowing Maureen's solo number in that musical,
I know
that is quite the role.
It's me. I was 15 when I did that,
Oh, that's
and it was 2009, so it was almost okay to be gay in high school in New York. But yeah, like a bunch of news channels were like crazy about it because it was a high school version of Rent.
That's a pretty risky show to be doing in a high school.
Like literally crazy, but fantastic. Everyone loved it. I loved it, and it was like a total. I love musicals. Actually, we're seeing Book of Mormon next week, me and Jake, because he's trying to indulge my musical side a little bit more, and like, you know, I wrote one. I obviously love them. Like, but yeah, I'm more partial. I realized I couldn't probably be a musical theater performer because I'm more partial to the modern rock musicals. So I was like, I should probably just be a rock singer.
Mhm.
But yeah, Rent was actually my high school put the band on stage like they do for the Broadway show.
Oh, sweet.
So that was the first time I sang like 4 feet away from a rock band, and I was like, I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Like that was like a turn. And I was like, that's different than musical theater. That's cool. Like I want to do that. So, and of course I got to ball my ass off on in the show, which is like why I love to sing. So
like Maureen's part is so much fun.
yeah,
She is such a fun character.
she's the best. And I did not want to be Mimi because they had her actually doing all the flips and twists on the poles and shit on the top. I'm like, I will die. Like when I was Maureen and I had to do the take me or leave me stuff from table to table,
Mhm.
the director, and like literally, this is not even funny. We had to put 2 folding chairs in between the tables so I could get from table to table, and I still was like, I'm gonna fall. Like I couldn't handle it. I'm very afraid of heights. Like I'm very uncoordinated. So like I fall on stage like not like Post Malone recently fall, but like I will
that was
almost
rough.
for him. He was amazing. I feel so bad for him. Hope he's feeling okay. Anyway, I like slip or fall or kick something over or break a shoe. One thing that no one else notices always happens on stage like that. So I'm just a spaz, but anyway, yeah, I love musicals. I love rock musicals. Rent's probably my favorite.
Rent is a fantastic musical. So how would you try to convince Tim that he should watch Rent?
Tim, I feel like what you need to do if you really want to do this is figure out what your like favorite genre of music is. There's most likely been a jukebox musical made after that genre of music, which is basically like a collection of all the songs.
Okay.
But like, did you ever see do you like Green Day?
Yeah.
There's
I know
a Green
that they
Day
had
musical. Theirs is pretty cool. Like visually, it was really cool. But honestly,
It was based off of American Idiot, wasn't it?
Yeah. So it's like it's like a jukebox musical about that record. So that's cool. But yeah, like again, like I think a lot of it is like the peppiness with musical theater people are get a little turned off by, which I as well do, and like all the classic stuff I'm not like super into. But I just find music I like, and then if they put it in a musical, I'll watch it, you know. But you kind of have to take like it's like watching Judge Judy. Like it's kind of like a real courtroom. It's like seriously, like you watch it because it's Judge Judy, and it's like kind of like a real courtroom. But you need to like take what you're gonna get from it. Like it's obviously not a real situation. Like obviously they're not gonna break out into song in the middle of the AIDS crisis. Like I mean they basically did. That's why Rent was written. But like it's like you need to take what it is. You need to take it for what it is. It's gonna be like a fake courtroom, although it's entertaining. It's just a musical. Musicals do these things, but there's no reason why you can't enjoy it. Do you ever see Avenue Q, Tim? It's a little vulgar, but it's funny.
Nope. I have no
Okay,
idea what it is.
I actually mentioned that in our chat, and I was like, I think Tim would enjoy that one.
Avenue
it's a
Q?
good one, Tim. It's funny.
Okay, so I've been to many. My wife loves musicals, although she no longer takes me because I sit there asking what in God's good green earth is going on and why they're singing at each other instead of just talking. And she's tired of trying to explain musicals to me. But the last one I saw that I actually liked, was Phantom. I saw Phantom.
Really?
I enjoyed Phantom. And I do like the TV show on Apple called Schmigadoon. Those are the only two.
Is that based off of Brigadoon?
It's a parody of
a lot of different
musicals.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very funny. I didn't know about that. But
So-
Phantom of the Opera is like the musical of all musicals. That's funny that's one that you enjoyed, because like that's not something that I'm like. I think the music's really cool for the most part, but
I think it was
after
the
a while-
music, the intro song with the guitar and everything.
right?
Bum 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 bum. That
Yeah,
kind
like
of
that's
got me.
really cool. So you should try some rock musicals or something like that.
Yeah, because my wife took me to, let's see, Cats. I wanted to go play in traffic. Les Mis. I wanted to go
That's a
play in
hard
traffic.
Yeah.
Miss Saigon. That wasn't bad, but for the most part,
No, you gotta go see fun ones. Fun rock musicals, like just what you like.
Right, if We Will Rock You is near you, go see that one, because that's the Queen musical.
Oh,
Isn't there a Beatles musical
yeah, I think so.
yeah.
It's like a bunch.
across the
Or-
universe or something like that?
Yeah.
Oh,
you might
yeah.
like Jersey Boys.
Jersey Boys is fun too. I saw Motown the musical. That was fun. I just love all that music, and the story was really interesting, actually.
And in all reality, you probably would like the stage production of Lion King.
Never seen
Funny-
that.
It's funny you should mention that.
The stage production of Aladdin was amazing. Like the treasure area, what was that called? The Forbidden
Yeah, whatever. It's
Cave of Wonders.
There you
That
go.
was really fun. And like how they did things on the stage seemed very magical. I was like, how did they do that?
Well, there you go. Because when I watch theater too now, I'm kind of like, I know how they did that.
Mhm.
But when you don't know, it's when it's the best to me.
I think why Lion King would get you. I mean, I don't know what your opinion is about the movie of Lion King, Tim.
Oh, I love Lion King, and it's funny you should mention it because in January we're probably going to go see it.
I was gonna say, are you going or not?
I've
But,
been
like,
told I am.
because of the puppetry and the costuming in that one, I think you'll really enjoy that one. That one's really cool.
Yeah.
I saw that in Toronto in 2003.
See, now in the
And I was
animated
just-
version, I sing along with the songs. I'm not going to
Well,
lie.
yeah. I was
It's
completely like just mesmerized by it because it is all of the costuming is all the African tribal look, and it is so beautiful. It is so incredible. And like the beginning of the show, when the animals are all showing up for Simba, they walk down the aisles around you, and it's like you're suddenly in the middle of the savannah, and it's like, this is so cool.
Interesting. Okay.
I also love musicals, and it doesn't matter what I go see, I'm going to love it all.
Well,
This
that's
is
great.
probably true.
I grew up in a musical family. It's what happens.
Yeah, right.
My
Yeah, I
parents
grew up
met
with a mom
doing-
who listened to Patsy Cline and Elvis, so it doesn't.
my
ring the
pets
same
my,
bell.
my parents met doing community theater. Like, it's just
Oh,
my grandma was an opera singer. I was a spoon in Beauty and the Beast in my high school. Like, it's just what I do. Yeah, of all things, I was a spoon, but it was still fun. It was a tuxedo and a giant spoon sticking out the back of it. And
oh my God. The things we do for theater, like,
I
it's
know.
just the worst.
I know. Dancing around on stage under stage lights in a tuxedo is the worst.
Yeah,
That
my
was
my
awful.
first recital costume when I was a dancer when I was 3, I was a bubble. I was a bubble, a straight up bubble. And then I saw the older girls dancing to Michael Jackson. I was like, why am I not doing that? And I was like, it's because you're like 3. It's on tape. Like, we have a whole big, like, piss that I'm not dancing like a bunch of teenagers. I'm like, but I want to do that. And I was like, well, you're young. Like, so she waited to put me back in dance. And then sure enough,
But you'd be a cute bubble.
I was a great bubble. I mean, I was literally the best bubble in the bunch, but I wanted to be like a rock star, like you okay? Are you okay? Like they were doing it was like Smooth Criminal. It was a Smooth Criminal. I'll never forget it. I was like, seriously, I remember the feeling of like seeing the costumes they were wearing, which were so cool, and then hearing the music. I was like, why? I want to do that.
I love
So,
it.
Yeah.
April, many artists like a certain medium or style that they tend to gravitate to. So I'm wondering, like, the process of like how you found your sound, or the process, like, did the lyrics come before the music, or did the music come after the lyrics?
It's always different. I'm still trying to figure out how to write. Sorry, were you in the middle?
No,
Uh,
I
He was
think
just
I
realizing
said the
that
same thing.
he asked the same thing 2 different ways.
Whatever. It's not gonna matter because quite honestly, I have no idea what I'm doing. So you're already way ahead there. But no, like in terms of writing, like it always changes. Like I just have to be, I said this the other day, I have to be attached to what I'm doing. So if I find a lyric that I'm obsessed with, I'll make it work because I love it, you know? So if it comes first, like, and it's just in a poem, I'll make that work. And then if I come up with a melody and I'm obsessed with that, I'll stick a good lyric in it, you know? So it's just, you know, I find myself writing mostly, piano and vocal. But you know, I've also been writing the tracks that I make and tracks that my friends make too. So I guess like the bottom line is I just need to be attached to something that plants the seed of being like excited about it. And then it will go. Usually.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, so April, we're at a stage in our show where one of 2 things happens. Either we take our guest through a quiz that they're completely not ready for, or B, we ask them a silly question. And tonight we decided that we just ask you a silly question.
Oh, okay. I was hoping for the quiz. That's okay.
Well, okay, so here it is. So if you had the choice between 2 superpowers, you could be invisible or you could fly. Which one would you choose?
And why?
I guess, and why?
I don't know. It just felt like a good rhyme.
Why?
Be invisible or fly.
Man, I
Or why?
honestly feel like I'd rather fly because if I were invisible and people didn't know I was there, I wind up seeing stuff I don't want to see and hearing stuff I don't want to know.
Mm-hmm.
Usually I don't want to be involved with like anything. So flying would then come in handy to make sure that that happens. So I could just, if someone starts to talk, it's like, oh, I gotta fly away. And I just fly like birds, or somebody's coming near me. Just.
I don't know what's wrong.
What?
I don't know what's wrong. I just am floating
Right?
away.
Yeah. Oh,
There
I'm
are
like one of the
so
flying
many
people.
situations where I wish I could have just flown away.
Look at the distance
Yeah,
that we
like just
unfortunately
oops,
have
there I
between
go.
us.
Like birds just do it. Like they don't ask. Birds don't ask to like fly away. They just go. You know, they're just
Right.
like, oh, talk to you later. Okay.
Yeah, they see people walking at them and they're like, bye.
Right. Like when I canoe with Jake and we'll be like going in the river and there's like the pelicans, the white, beautiful birds. And I'm like trying to get fast to go to them. Like, and then they just fly away when we're like almost there. I'm like, why do you even bother? Like they have like the ability to just see you and then just fly easily and lightly to wherever they would like to go.
But also with being afraid of heights, you can still fly low to the ground. So you're not too high.
I think if I was in control of it, it wouldn't bother me as much.
That's true.
Because the heights thing is like, there's a lot of unknowns and.
Yeah, because if you fall, you are not in control of it.
No, because that's the whole thing. Like falling from a height is the scary thing, really. If I know I'm safe, like if you know what I mean, if I know I'm safe, it's not that big of a deal. But like being on a cliff or like any of that, no, thanks. Bye. I'm gonna need wings. So,
All right.
Yeah.
Very good.
Well, April, thank you so much for being on the show today. Where can our listeners go to find out more about you and your work?
So you just look up April, like the month, Rose, like the flower, and Gabrielli, which is my last name, Gabrielli. So April Rose Gabrielli. That's my website. So it's aprilrosegabrielli.com. And then on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I have a Patreon too. That could always use new community members. We have a lot of fun on there. So that's just patreon.com/April Rose Gabrielli. But yeah, just give me a quick Google. I'm on YouTube too. And you'll find me there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We will link those in the video description.
That would be great.
All right. We also want to remind people that subscribing is the single most important thing that you can do to help us to continue to grow, help us to get more amazing guests like April Rose Gabrielli here, and have these funny moments for you guys to be able to listen to. So please subscribe. It helps more than you'll ever know. And certainly you want to go to April's website, her Patreon, her Instagram, follow her on all social media and all the other things that she does, and go check out her music. You will not be sorry. She has an amazing, and I do mean amazing voice, and I'm a big fan. But if for whatever reason you were not happy with the content of our show today, please feel free to lodge a complaint with the head of our complaint department. That, of course, is Elton John's keyboard. Sure has put together some happy and fun songs like Benny and the Jets, Daniel, Don't Go Breaking My Heart, Crocodile Rock, and so many others. But it also played Saturday Night's All Right. That night that was all right for fighting. His keyboard knows how to throw a punch. So you got to be careful about that. So just bring one copy of your complaint, because the offending party is either going to get a ballad or a butt kicking. That could happen. But either way.
I think it would be better to have a face melting.
Do you think, though, that the keyboard will knock us flat?
Either way, the population's going to get some good music out of it.
Well, thanks again, April.
Thank you, guys. It's nice to meet you, Nick, over Zoom, but and nice to see you guys again as well, Tim and Kathleen.
So this time again next year?
Yeah, I mean, just I guess make this an annual thing. I mean,
our annual check-in with April Rose Gabrielli.
Yeah, right, and then the rug. Yeah.
All right, guys, that's going to conclude us for the FSF PopCast. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
Ciao.
On behalf of the rest of the hosts of the FSF PopCast, we want to thank you for listening to this episode. If you'd like to be a guest on a future episode, please contact us by means of Twitter or Instagram using the handle @FSF PopCast, or go to www.fsfpopcast.com and click on the Contact Me link. Thanks again, and hope you enjoyed the episode.